Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously wherever you are in the world. So what do you do? 3, 2, 1, my juicy little lights. Thank you, little lights. You're delicious and bright. Right, the sun is shining. So the sun is shining, weather is sweet. Yeah, I love this weather. I love the sun, and the sun loves me. Blue sky, very little clouds. Okay, my delicious babies, so we can actually see the sky today, my delicious baby sky. And yes, it's about 11:15 in the morning in our old England, my delicious little baby sky. So there's a video. I never wrote it down. I'll write it down afterwards. My delicious little babies. It's just over an hour and a half long, and it's with John Waters. But anyway, the uploader, with anybody not in that way, the uploader is called in the old space bar on YouTube. My delicious little babies, Christian with a capital C, space, capital E, then space, then capital W, White. Christian E. White. Okay, my delicious little babies. He happens to have 1.53,000 subscribers, my delicious little babies. It's just come up on my feed. And he's talking to John Waters, okay? He's a broader Irishman. And they're talking about Ireland and things like this now then. And what they're basically saying is that, it's no longer a democracy, it's totalitarianism. Gosh, I must have swallowed a dictionary this morning, my delicious babies, okay? And he's talking about, going back to 2020, my delicious babies, which I will never forget, and neither will millions of others. But you do have some who, act as though nothing took place, my delicious babies. That, what did he say? You went to bed on a democracy or something, words to that effect, and woke up, the totalitarianism. Okay, my delicious babies. This is a very long word, isn't it, my delicious babies? Anyway, well, the only thing that I can say here, I mean, I enjoy personally listening to John Waters, okay? I do not listen to him very often because I have who I listen to, okay, my delicious baby. So that's no disrespect. But this democracy business, well, we've never been in a democracy, have we, my delicious babies? Not as far as I'm concerned, anyway. I may not be one of these historians, for decades and decades ago. But from what I can see, it's never been a democracy. Okay, my delicious babies. That's just my thoughts. And I've got nothing across my shoulders. That's clearly telling me no, it's not. Never has been. Anyway, my delicious babies, but I was just starting to listen to it. So if anybody's interested, because I've saved it anyway, so I can listen to the rest of it, it would be well worth listening because, of course, with Ireland at the moment, what they're going through, my delicious little babies, bless their dear little souls, you know what I mean? And of course, for Ireland, it's not a massive place, my delicious little babies, okay, but it's really beautiful. I mean, me personally, I happen to have, Irish one side of the family, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Plus, I've got my beautiful dear little friends, with Irish as well, you know what I mean? So for myself, there we are. It is to my heart. There we are. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? And my heart goes out to them because it's a beautiful place. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, and you've got all the beautiful greenery and everything, Well, we do. We have it everywhere, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. I mean, the greeneries, it's just off the scale. It's just so beautiful. But others, okay, my delicious little babies and the little lackeys want to ruin all of that, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Anyway, what do I want to talk about? Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, my delicious little babies, okay? I've never spoken to him before. He's somebody's brother. And like I said, not in that way. And he's been with his, she's either Chinese or she's Malaysian. Okay, my delicious little babies. And he's been with her for 15 years now. Okay, my delicious little babies. Oh, before I proceed, they put me back on pause, my delicious little babies, okay? So it means I cannot send comments, I think, until about 12 or 1 o'clock today. See, they're back at that again, Marsdale Stuck Babies, his old YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Marsdale Stuck Babies, okay? I'm really just not too sure, why they're doing this Mad Delicious Little Babies, because I'm not even sending any nasty comments. I'm not doing anything. Okay, but anyway, I'm not sure about this time at all. Anyway, I haven't sent anything flipping nasty, you know what I mean? Mad Delicious Little Babies anyway. You know what I mean? But anyway, I said the other day what my thoughts are, yes, okay? And I've noticed as well, like with other channels, that for some, that they're not getting as many who are commenting, or so maybe they're starting to, there we are, ramp it up with others as well, Mad Delicious Babies, do you know what I mean? Okay, because I mean, let's be fair, I mean, some who put comments, they can be, there we are, very vocal with what they type at Mad Delicious Babies. Well, for myself, I do not do that. You see what I mean? I just believe they've got it in for me with my channel. There we are, Mad Delicious Babies. I genuinely, there we are, shoulders up again. I genuinely believe that. So what they like to do, they like to keep me, just a figure of speech, Mad Delicious Babies, but they like to keep me squeezed. You know what I mean? Mad Delicious Babies, okay? Because I talk about all different topics, there we are, and subjects, Mad Delicious Babies, you know what I mean? But it's very clear to myself, it has been, there we are, a long time, that clearly what I talk about, some are not liking, do you know what I mean? Mad Delicious Babies, okay? Nevertheless, see how damn sneaky they are now, isn't it? And they keep me up. They still keep me up on YouTube, Mad Delicious Babies. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, my other video the other day, okay, was it when I was wearing my green toppy cupboard. They put that because it took hours upon hours upon hours to upload Mad Delicious Babies, okay? It's just a jerk, you know what I mean? And not a ha-ha jerk. They said it was typed out something like it's been uploaded in HD. So that's the first time I've ever seen that on any of my videos, my Delicious Little Babies kind. Plus, when I'm listening to videos, it keeps flipping flashing up. Take a break. Take a break. Flipping text a P, man. You're listening to a video, then it comes up with that, or it comes up with install something. Somebody's tampering, there we are, with my flipping dog and burn, I'm convinced of this. You know what I mean, okay? Because all these dog and burns I seem to have a flipping issue with Mad Delicious Babies anyway. So what happened yesterday evening, just let me say this as well, Mad Delicious Babies. So I was uploading another video from yesterday evening. I never showed my bird trace because I was out in my garden, you know what I mean? Well, it's not going to look like Steptoe and Son for much longer because I've got to wait for my gardener to come out to myself. Plus, but he wasn't very well either, Mad Delicious Babies. And I've got to get my bulky collection collected, do you know what I mean? Okay, but we had to wait months for this, okay? So it was beyond my control, as I do not have a van. Otherwise, I would have booked in, because you have to book in these days with the tip. I would have just got somebody to help me, and I just would have took it myself. But it's beyond my control at the moment, so there's not a lot I can do about it. But yeah, so this morning, so that was from yesterday evening, Mad Delicious Babies, say about 8:30 at night. And it was only like a video which was like 26 minutes and something. So it's taking all night and it was still uploading. So what I did, Mad Delicious Babies? I just deleted it. That's what I did, Mad Delicious Babies, okay? Because it just paid me off. So I just thought, you know what? Just delete it. So I'm making my video today, Mad Delicious Babies. Anyway, let me get back to this now. So yeah, and he was explaining to myself that he's been married for he actually met her over here, Mad Delicious Babies. He seems like a very pleasant man, actually, okay? And so does his brother. They're both not in that way. They both seem most pleasant, okay? And anyway, and he was telling me that because his wife, as I would say, okay, Mad Delicious Babies, she's been away now for about a couple of months. She's gone back home, okay, Marzlichtig babies. And he was also showing me that his wife was on a horse and she was wearing her, you know what they wear in their country, like proper Chinese clothes, Marzlichtig babies, kind. She was on a horse, and you know what it reminded me of? Sorry, excuse me, Marzlichtig babies. Do you remember that advert where it was one of the actresses and she was on a white horse and it was advertising a perfume, Marzlichtig babies? For some reason, it's just like my noddle just switched. And that came into my noddle, Marzlichtig babies. I forgot what the flipping perfume is now. I don't know. Is it Dior or something? I don't know. Marzlichtig babies anyway. I'm not really one for perfumes and everything. I mean, I'll just have a £1 bottle of spray, Marzlichtig babies, you know what I mean? Or the most I'd probably spend on a perfume these days would be a tenner, you know what I mean? Tenk-ching, you know what I mean? I'm just not one for... I mean, my daughters, yes, you know, my future son-in-law, bless, but, you know, I'll spend more on them little babies, but for myself, no. I'm just not materialistic, Marzlichtig babies. I'm actually rather... there we are, rather humble. There we are. I'm rather humble, Marzlichtig babies. You know what I mean? As long as I've got something to eat, and I'm blessed with a roof over my head. Do you understand what I mean? And I've got water. Do you know what I mean? Yes. You know, and gas and lecky. You know, I'm there we are. I'm happy. Do you understand what I mean? I'm not one even for buying a lot of clothes, and anyway, whatever clothes I buy, I usually wear a few times and then pass them down to my daughter, Marzlichtig babies, or somebody who you know, who would want them, Marzlichtig babies. Do you know what I mean? I bought a pair of jeans a while back, and when I got them, where did I get them from now? River Island. And when I got them, I never liked them. I never liked them much. And I never even tried them on, Marzlichtig babies. I put them through the old washer, my beautiful little washing machine, which I'm truly blessed for. But I got to wait now to see if somebody would like them. They're brand new, brand spanking new. All I did was just, you know, put them through the wash. But I got them and I thought, I don't like you. Do you understand what I mean, Marzlichtig babies? It's not like decades ago where you used to have... I just feel the clothes were different then. Do you understand what I mean, Marzlichtig babies? Kind these days, no. You know, and if you are going to buy something, you know, you want to buy something that you can keep, there we are, forever, for years, Marzlichtig babies, you know what I mean? Not just keep going out and spend, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's how I am. And as you can see, I don't wear jewellery and do you understand what I mean, okay? I'm just not made that way because when I was young, you know what I mean? I've been there, done it, there we are, got the T-shirt. Do you understand what I mean, okay? I'm young now. I don't know what I'm saying, I'm flipping old for, because I'm not Marzlichtig babies, I'm still young. But what I'm saying is, I mean, say going back to my late teens and early 20s, Marzlichtig babies, you know what I mean? So I had everything, there we are, full and plenty then, Marzlichtig babies, you know what I mean? Enough to come out your damn ears now, do you know what I'm saying, okay? And it's just not for myself. I just never felt comfortable, and that's why I went to my beautiful dear little friends, you know, over the decades, you know, and he used to come, he said, let's have a mooch in your wardrobe, do you know what I mean? Marzlichtig little babies. It's like Aladdin's cave, you know what I mean? Because there was just so much there. And I said, you can just take, or, you know, if somebody needed something, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, my beautiful dear little friends, I mean, they don't need anything. They've got full and plenty, you know what I mean? But, you know, my beautiful dear little friends, they wouldn't just... say have something off anybody. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, they've just always been that way, mind you. So saying that, there we are. I am the same, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? I'm very fussy. You know what I mean? If it's one of my beautiful dear little friends, and they say, you know, and do you think this will fit you or something? Then of course I would. Do you know what I mean? Because they're my beautiful dear little friends, for one, and number two is that I know that the clothes are clean. Do you understand what I mean? So it's like I could bring the clothes into my home and I know that I don't have to put them through my beautiful little washer. Do you understand what I mean? Because I know they're clean. Do you say? So I am very fussy like that. Do you understand what I mean? But no, material, no. I'm just not that way, Marzlichtig babies. Like I said, I got £1.99 earrings, and then as soon as my videos finished to you all, my delicious little babies. They just come out. I just prefer just to be, let's just say, as natural, there we are, to my own self as possible. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Anyway, let me get back to this now then. So I've just rambled on for a bit. Anyway, so basically what I'm saying is I'm low maintenance, my delicious little babies. I'm not high maintenance, you know what I mean? I'm not one to go and get nails done and do all this kind of thing now then. No, not at all. Okay, my delicious little babies. Haven't even got my toenails painted either, my delicious little babies. It's if I'm in the mood to do it, do you know what I mean? I just like them just to breathe, you know, your feet to breathe and your fingers to breathe. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Anyway, and this man there now then, he was telling myself that, yeah, because they can go away for months, can't they, my delicious little babies? But I said to him, I said, well, no disrespect. I said, no disrespect to you, okay, and his name, because we introduced ourselves. I said, but I said, we couldn't get away with it. I mean, I worked for years, you know, to do office work and everything like this now. So, you know, if you got 2 weeks away, you were lucky. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? But it seems to be a different for different cultures. So I'm not being racist or prejudiced or anything with what I'm saying. Do you see what I mean? Okay, my delicious little babies, but it's a different rule, isn't it? Because even if you look at, say, somebody who's Muslim, if they go back to Pakistan or they go back to India, if they're Indian or something like this now, then they go for weeks on end, my delicious little babies. Weeks and weeks on end. But we would never get away with that, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean? So can you see what the differences are? So that's no disrespect to anybody. I'm just, there we are, pointing out simple things, which is the truth. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But I said, well, I'm pleased that, you know, your dear wife, she's having a good time, you know what I mean, with the family and everything. I said, and may she have a safe journey home. Do you see what I mean? Okay. But he said himself, he said he's going to go and live out in Malaysia when he retires. So they're going to go and, you know, because she's got bairns from her first marriage, my delicious little babies. But this couple here, who I'm talking about, he's white English and she's Chinese or Malaysian, like I said. Well, they do not have any between them, so they've been together 15 years, but they're happy that way, you know, they didn't want... Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, I can. Well, there's nothing wrong with that if that's how they're happy, and they're very happy together, you know what I mean? But he was also talking about South Korea, my delicious little babes, and he was saying he went there with his wife. It was a while ago now when he went. And he was telling myself that... the South Korean women do not want to marry the South Korean men, my delicious little babies. And the reason for that is because he said that they're too lazy. My delicious little babies, you know, the South Koreans, they're too lazy, my delicious little babies, apparently. I said, really? He said, yes. But getting back to what he was talking about, he wanted to retire. He's talking about the food, how the food's gone up, how all these bills go up, and then, you know, and he was talking about all this now then. And he said, whereas over in like Malaysia, he said that, you know, it's cheaper. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But we was having a really, to be fair, a really good good conversation, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But now he doesn't like watching where our country's going either, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? Anyway, what else do I want to talk about? Yeah, so I was talking to somebody else. Anyway, I forgot to tell you this. It was months ago now. And it's a dear lady, bless it. And she was explaining to myself, you know, like when they have these Indian weddings, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? That usually, most of the time, this is only what she told me, my delicious little babies, that, you know, like where usually with a wedding, you sit there, you know, you've been invited to go to a wedding, you know, there we are. I've been to many, my delicious little babies. Mind you, I did forget to go to one. Mind you, they did get divorced some years later, my delicious little babies. Anyway. I mean, how I forgot, I do not know. I just completely forgot. It just went outside me noddle. Do you know what I mean? I thought, I know I'm meant to be going somewhere, but I couldn't remember where I was meant to be going. My delicious little babies. Anyway, I did apologise. I sent a card and everything and wished them happiness. You know what I mean? When I seen them, anyway, my delicious little babies. So that was years ago. So, and she was telling me, this dear Indian lady, sorry, that you see, where we would usually sit quietly, you know what I mean? And unless something like funny happens, you know, my delicious little babies, you know, with our English weddings, usually everybody's quiet and, you know, they're just enjoying the service, my delicious little babies. But in the Indian culture, with the different, because you got Hindu, you know, as you would very well know, my delicious little babies, things like this. What they tend to do is, in some, you know, the different religion bit, what they do, not all, but they tend to just get up and just go and get something to eat. My delicious babies, or there's others who are just talking. My delicious babies. So instead of watching the actual ceremony, they just get up and go and have something to eat. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? I mean, for myself, when she told me that, I said, well, to be quite honest, this, you know, because I just think that's, there we are, is rather rude. You know, if you've been invited to go to a wedding, you should be paying attention to the wedding ceremony, shouldn't you, my delicious little babies? But no, not with some. It's not with all, but not, you know, but with some. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? And I just thought, well, you know what? If ever I had another gathering, you wouldn't be invited. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Let me tell you, I make no bones about it. Just an old-fashioned saying, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I just think it's damn rude. You know, you shouldn't do that at any ceremony. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Yeah, and then I've got another dear friends, bless, you know, where she's lost her dear mum and you know, and dear mummy-in-law. I mean, that's so sad. Yeah, really sad, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I you know, sent my condolences. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But yeah, very sadly, you know, that's what's going on. My delicious little babies, very sad. Changing the subject, so much love, you know, and I hope that the service, you know, goes peacefully well. So we changed the subject. Now all I was hearing is ambulance after ambulance. We are after ambulance, my delicious babies, just constantly. Plus the fact I was hearing some my delicious little babies, and they were saying, oh, you know, started to say, because like some are all right with the heat, but others go, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too hot. Well, you know what, my delicious little babies, okay? So you could talk to somebody and say, oh, it's too hot. Not everybody, my delicious little babies, okay? You could talk to others and they would say, oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too windy. Oh, it's too rainy. You know, for some in the world, my delicious little babies, not all, but I just think that they're very ungrateful, my delicious little babies, because I remember going back years and years and years and years and years ago when I watched this documentary. It wasn't on one of the normal channels, my delicious little babies. It was on a different channel. And this is where there's this country, and it only had 4 hours a daylight. The rest of the time, it was pitch black, my delicious little babies. So imagine if we had to live like that, my delicious little babies. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be a very nice experience just to have 4 hours of daylight, my delicious little babies. You know, and I couldn't believe it when I watched it, and I wish I had wrote it down all them years back, but I never. And I cannot remember to this day what country it was, my delicious little babies, but yes. So, you know, you do have some in the world who just complain constantly. Instead of saying, oh, we've got beautiful, delicious weather, you know, it's good for our skin, good for our eyes, good for our vitamin D, you know, for our bodies. Do you know what I mean? Okay? You got others who just slip in moan all the time, my delicious little babies. It just drives myself crackers. But some actually buy in to this poxy flipping weather forecast. You know, where you got a red warning or an amber warning. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Years ago, we never had that. All that the weather men or weather women, used to do was just, it's like you have the shape of a cloud, and then there was a bit of sunshine, or they'd have some drizzles for like rain. That's what you used to get, my delicious little babies. None of this crap. You know, when they're talking about poxy flipping climate change, my delicious little babies, it's just a crock of shart, you know what I mean? But you do get some, very sadly, who believe in this bullshit, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? I mean, what was it somebody said to me the other day? They said, well, it's summer, you know, you can have sunshine in so it's just damn well flipping common sense, man. Damn well common sense, do you know what I mean? But like I said, you know, over these, and I'm seeing more now starting to wear the old muzzles again, the old masks. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Can you see how this is making ones, for some, their noddles? My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? I do feel sorry for somebody if they suffer with asthma or something, and, you know, they may have breathing trouble in the summer, okay? Because my beautiful dear little friend of over 20 years, she was one of my best friends. You've heard me talk about her before, how I love her so. I love everybody so. I've already said good morning. All my beautiful dear family and friends who are very sadly passed. And our little babies, who we call our sons and daughters. Well, she used to suffer terribly. She loved her son, but she suffered terribly with the her breathing and everything. My delicious little baby, because she was severely asthmatic as well. My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So I do feel sorry for those who have breathing trouble, my delicious little babies, in this weather. But for myself, I could live in this weather constantly. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? And finally, what I want to say. Yeah, so, you know, like, say if I walk out with like a t-shirt and shorts, my delicious little babies, this is something that I felt like this some years, my delicious little babies, okay? I've got no skin on my bird trace, old-fashioned Jamaican saying, my delicious little babies, what I'm just about to say. But yes, if you come to a different country, in this case, our old England, my delicious little babies, and of course, you know, you got your own religion and everything. So if you dressed head to toe, do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, you know, well, that's clearly how you were, brought up to be, my delicious little babies. So I'm not disrespectful of any of that. I mean, how others' religions are is their own business, isn't it? What I do not like, my delicious little babies, and I have noticed of late a lot more of it. For myself, I'm English. So for myself to be in shorts and t-shirt like what I am now, my delicious little babies, okay? This is natural for myself, okay? I'm not going to walk around with a flipping a thick jacket, my delicious little babies, and, you know, thick trousers or something like this now then, when it's scorching hot outside, my delicious little babies, okay? I see absolutely no common sense, you know what I mean? You know, you're not allowing your skin to breathe or anything. But what I've noticed, my delicious little babies, and I'm not saying this to be prejudiced. Anyway, if anybody knows me, they already know who I am. So I do not need to say it. I'm not even going to go there. But I noticed that some who are dressed, you know, from the head to toe, my delicious little babies, okay? And even they could be walking up the road. You know, there's more and more. They'll never smile at you. And it's like they look at you and give you dirty looks, my delicious little babies. It's damn rank, man. So if they want to dress like that and that's their religion, let them be done doing it. But don't give myself dirty looks. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Because guess what? They get it straight back. Do you see what I mean? And I couldn't give a figureless F. You see what I'm saying? Yes, that's what I don't like. So, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you looking at myself for? Because what? Because I'm showing my skin. Do you know what I mean? I was born completely differently, and I thank my lucky stars, my delicious little babies, there we are, that I was born in England, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But for some countries, bless them, you know, go back to India. Anyway, I've already talked about this long time, you know, and you see the videos where they used to dress, you know, they used to dress in miniskirts and everything, my delicious little babies, and look at what crept in. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Anyway, you're never going to see myself walking around dressed head to toe. No, you will not. I'm not going to be swayed into that kind of life, my delicious little babies. No, 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 no. We wasn't brought into the world to be covered from head to toe, my delicious little babies. To be quite honest, and I do say this, I do feel sorry. I do genuinely, my delicious little babies, okay? So I'm not going to be like bitchy about it. I do feel sorry, you know what I mean, okay? Because if that's their religion, you know, they could get into trouble if they dress differently. But like for most of them, you know, anybody who's Indian who I know, well, for most who I know, both men and women, you know, they dress just in clothes like what I'm wearing, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Or T-shirts and things like this now, do you know what I mean? But that's what I don't like, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Don't look down on myself. And the thing is, there we are, it's happening, there we are, before I even say it's happening more and more, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But I could say a lot more, my delicious little babies, so I'm just going to cut it there, my delicious little babies. That's just a figure of speech, you know what I mean? I'm just going to stop it there. But nobody should look down on anybody. I don't look down on them because they're dressed from head to toe. I feel sorry for them because of the heat. I mean, they must be so hot. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So, you know, I mean that in a polite way, but not when they're giving you dirty looks now, you know what I mean? In my own country. Damn rink, man. Like I know somebody else, you know, I was taking my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday out. Anyway, I took her out, as you know, we're not long walked in. Not far from myself. And I was walking, you know, around with my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday. And then you got, you know, the houses and everything, yes? And then the one Asian woman come out, didn't she? And she said, because they always say hello to me, bless you, they're always pleasant, say hello to myself. And she said, please don't let her do a number 2 on that grass. So I said to her, I said, good morning to you. I said, whose grass is this? I said, whose patch of grass is this? I said, I'm walking on a pavement, isn't it? I said, that patch of grass, I said, that's your house that you bought, that's fine. Little does she know that, you know, they don't own the house anywhere, my delicious little babies, because it's one big effing con man. Okay, I've been scammed again. But a lot do not realise this, my delicious little babies. Okay, I mean, the land should be for everybody, but if you delve deeper into this, I know what I'm talking about, my delicious little babies. Anyway, but I said, this is a public footpath, and that is public grass. You do not own the grass. And I said, and she says, yes, but I need to walk there to get to my car. Do you see what I'm saying to you, my delicious little babies, okay? So I said, well, I've got me little black bags. And I said, so, you know, if my little Rubes, you know, if she's going to do number 2, I'll pick it up anyway. But I thought, you know, don't flipping be done telling myself. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? Just don't do it, man. But don't make out that you own the road either, because you do not. Do you see what I'm saying, yes? So you do get some, but there's been a lot who have been moving out the road. My delicious little babies. And then, of course, you got ones who are moving in, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's all I want to say. Lights off, my delicious little babies, yeah? I don't have a problem with nobody, my delicious little babies. I always believe, honestly, I always believe live and let live, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? But one must never think now that they're better than another. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? Ever. Because for myself, I don't put up with that shit. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? If we go back decades ago, it was a different thing now. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? And everything was just so different. So different. You know what I mean? Even, when somebody used to come into our country, different nationality, different culture, they come for a better life and everything, because they want to have a better life, you know what I mean? Then send the kaching change back to, to their homes. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I do not feel. But it was different then. And there seemed to be far more, there we are, respect. But not these days, my delicious babies, not these days at all. No. Okay, my delicious babies. But of course, I know all different nationalities, all different cultures, and come from all different countries. And I generally, there we are, will get along with anybody, my delicious babies, do you know what I mean? But for some, it's like they do not want to get along with you. Do you see what I mean? I'm not going to say everybody, no, I'm not. But for some, that's how they are. Do you see? But as I always say, if they don't like it, what are they here for? That's all I'm asking, my delicious babies. So I'm not being rude. I'm not saying that about all, okay, because I would never do that. Because I know some beautiful families, do you know what I mean? All different across the board. Okay? But if they don't like it, if they don't like being here, then why are they still here? Simple thing. That's just a question I'm asking. So I'm not saying that to be nasty. I'm just done asking a question. Do you know what I mean? Because whatever culture you go to, whatever country and culture, you know what I mean? It's like, say for example, if I was going to move to a foreign country, I would do my best, there we are, to learn that language of that country, merely out of, there we are, respect for the country that I'm in. Do you see what I mean? But over here now, we have, and I do know, and I have for decades, my delicious little babies can, where you've got, especially some of the women, bless, where they just do not talk English at all. So they spent decades not learning the language at all, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? And then when I used to do my parcel round as well, I used to go around, you know what I mean? So your man there, the husband, he would talk English, proper brummy English. But his wife now then, then she came over to our country, my delicious babies, couldn't speak a word of English. Do you see what I mean? But bit by bit, when I used to go, because, they're beautiful families, you know what I mean? But I used to say, hello, and then she'd start to go, hello, do you see what I mean? Like that, okay? But, if you go to a different country, especially if you're living there, you should learn to talk in their language, my delicious little babies, no matter what country it is. That's just my thoughts, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? But anyway, so until my next video, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. Yeah. One last thing, I popped in flipping Iceland, didn't I, the other day, my delicious little babies, and they got the Nest cafe. I've took some little video of it, shorter. They've got them in a plastic clear boxes, my delicious little babies, the coffee. Yeah, I took a little shorty video of it, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So that would be, just take a look at that. And what they're doing is, like with the meat and everything, and then they're putting them in, all in plastic, so... and they do it with the alcohol as well, so you have to have a key to open it, my delicious babies. Oh yes, I've been watching all of this, there we are, long time, in different shops, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? It's amazing, isn't it? Changes. That's the other thing. There's a song that was on my noddle this morning, and I remember it back to, but I can't remember exactly. I need to type it in and find out what year that song is, my delicious. It's a baby, hear me tonight, 'cause my feelings is just so right as we dance. You'll know that song, my delicious babies, from the crack of dawn. Anyway, I've been on and off of work all night, my delicious little babies, you know, been sort of drifting in and out. From crack of dawn, sorry, excuse me, my delicious little babies, once again, that song was on my noddle. So I'm going to see what year that song was, my delicious little babies. And what's important to note is what went on, there we are, in that year, my delicious little babies, because that song I flipping forgot forever. Because I remember many decades ago, somebody absolutely loved that song. Okay, my delicious little babies. I was never particularly keen on that song, do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But there's somebody who I knew absolutely adored that song, you know what I mean? Used to blast it out their car, my delicious little babies. Okay, there were a couple actually. Okay, my delicious little babies. So sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. And there was in the sky last night, it was like a kind of, you know, like a peachy kind of colour. I took another shorty video. Just if anybody has any form of an interest, please take a look at that. And what are your thoughts of the shape of it? What can you see? Because for myself, I can see a face in it. It's like I said, it depends what angle you're looking at. My delicious baby, but it was just that in the sky, and I thought I'm going to run out and just, you know, do a shorty video of my delicious babies. Anyway, so sending you all so very much love. Thank you for any views, for any likes, and for the occasional comments, my delicious little babies. How I love you all so, okay? You just take care of yourselves now, and please try to take care of others, okay? Because we are in a bonkers, crackers, and crazy world. Okay, and I love you so. And whatever you're doing today, please have a beautiful and delicious time. I'm not too sure how long my video is going to take to upload now, my delicious little babies. It could be all day. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Yes, they just like to be awkward with me. Does YouTube, my delicious little babies. Anyway, so you just take care once again. How I love you. Blessings, bright blessings. Goodbye.